from Hollywood and the four corners of the world. You asked for it. Starring Rich Little. Here's the star of You Asked For It, Rich Little.
Thank you, and welcome to the only show on television that goes anywhere in the world just because you asked for it. Tonight, our show comes from 4 continents. A weird practice with your face called Gurning from England. Germany's finger wrestling. A special marketplace in Africa, and much, much more. But first on our show, it's a challenge for most of us to walk up a hill. But when Steve McPeak goes for a walk, he does it thousands of feet in the air. Because you asked for it, Margaret Korbishley of Mojave, California, meets Steve McPeak, the daredevil holder of 24 world records. Our reporter is Desiree Goyette.
On March 19, 1977, Steve broke all records then existing for the highest wire walk. 1,300 feet above the Rio skyline, he walked the cable of the Sugarloaf Mountain Tramway, establishing himself as the only man in the world who walks these cables. Steve McPeak has been going where no one else dares to tread for most of his life. During a brief stint with the circus in his 20s, Steve McPeak became the only performer to walk the high wire on stilts. Brought up in a lumber camp, Steve began by walking cables between trees and even riding his unicycle on the wire. But no matter how great he was, the world still didn't take notice. So Steve began a series of illegal walks. This one above Hoover Dam, walking the cables, while the police waited to arrest him. A few arrests like this, and he was ready for bigger and better things.
After walking the cables across the Hoover Dam, I was presented with a problem of what could I do that would be more spectacular. And so come the idea of walking tramway cables.
In 1981, 4 years after his famous walk in Rio, Steve faces his greatest challenge. This tramway on Tokyo Bay in Japan leads up to an 800-foot cliff, an angle of 30 degrees. The cable is only 2 inches in diameter and covered with grease.
Sometimes, like in Rio de Janeiro, I had to clean the grease off the cable. But like in Japan, where it was very cold climate, the grease acted as more of a tarry substance. The particular type of grease that I use is very, very gummy and very tarry, so that it provides traction. I could walk maybe 500-600 feet before I had to sit down and put more grease on my feet. 2 days before I did the walk, a big hurricane came off of the ocean, and so the winds would be whirling and twisting. And then as I got up to the first mountain peak, it was more of a straight-on, hard-blowing wind. And then as I walked out into the middle of the second section, the winds would hit the bluffs, and so I'd have updrafts and downdrafts. And then not only counting the helicopter overhead and the big funnel of wind that hits you. It was quite an experience. I always look about 3 feet in front of me. Because of the nature of the way the cable is moving and bouncing up and down all the time, I have to be aware of exactly how I'm placing my feet. What is really happening is that I'm transmitting the energy or the motion that's going through the cable out through this balancing pole.
Steve Steve McPeak, daredevil extraordinary, and you asked for it.
This is Humphrey Bogart. Oh, you're good, Steve. You're awfully, awfully good. Steve McPeak is so tough that when he broke the latest world record, I sent him a wire. He liked it, and he walked it. I'll be back in a moment with a very unusual exhibition from England. Stay right where you are.
And now back to Rich Little.
Thank you, John. Assembled exclusively for you tonight at Egremont, England, are a few citizens of that part of the world who will introduce us to Gurning. Now, what in heaven's name is Gurning? Well, a letter from Susan Yates of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, sent our Desiree Goyette to find out. And remember, you asked for it.
In the northern hills of England, in the district of Cumbria, high above Lake Ennerdale, near the town of Egremont, is a circle of stones as ancient as England herself. For thousands of years, the men of Cumbria have gathered at these stones. Some have come to worship the gods, some to consult the stars and chart the heavens above, and some have come to Gurn. Egremont has been the capital of Gurning since 1267, when a local farmer and his wife invented this particular form of fun, presumably to pass the time during Cumbria's long, cold, and obviously very boring winters. These days, pulling faces is a competitive event that attracts first-class uglies like Albert Henson, Dodger Pattinson, Gordon Blacklock, and the current world champion, Ron Looney. How'd you like to look at this face in the mirror every morning? So, next time you're bored to tears, try Gurning. With practice, you too may become ugly enough to join this circle of champions. But don't count on it. After all, here in England, they've been gurning for over 700 years.
You know, you'd look that way, too, if you'd been doing it for 700 years. Incidentally, there's not a lot of singles action in Egremont, England, and I know why. Tonight and every night, Jack Smith brings us an outstanding story from the original You Asked For It, the show that began the trend towards reality programming. And here, with another classic from the past, is Jack Smith. Jack?
Thank you, Rich. Back in 1954, we went to Vancouver, British Columbia to film a 5-year-old circus star who weighed 900 pounds. Now, Opal, the elephant star, was brought back again and again. She drew more letters from viewers than any other act ever presented on the show. And here she is again, Opal, the baby elephant star.
Now, elephant age being about like human age, Opal would be just about a first grader, but a mighty smart first grader, as you'll see. Easy now, Opal. That's it. Up on 2 legs, she stands. No, she walks in an upright position. Wonderful. But Opal says all that's kid stuff. Now that I'm a whole year older, I like to do it this way. Now, those planks are hardly any wider than Opal's feet, and they're set apart so she can't balance on them with her trunk. Good work, Opal. Now, watch this. I don't think there's another elephant that does this. One up. Another. And three up. Now just imagine what Opal will be able to do by the time she's in junior high. But one more thing, Opal. This being your birthday, we'd sort of like to take your picture. How about sitting for your portrait right now? There. Now, watch the birdie.
The portrait of a performing pachyderm, the unforgettable Opal, because you asked for it. Rich, what did you think of Opal, our performing elephant?
I liked it. In just a moment, the great German sport of finger wrestling. We'll be back.
And now back to Rich Little.
This man has more strength in his little finger than most of us have in our entire bodies. He's an athlete in Germany's strongest sport, which is finger wrestling. Our Janet Langhart went to Ruhpolding, Germany, to find out what finger wrestling is all about. Because Ginger Fox of Beattyville, Kentucky, you asked for it.
This young man is training for one of Germany's most popular sports, finger wrestling, a sport that's more than 600 years old. The rules to finger wrestling or finger hocking are simple. Two contestants sit opposite each other at a table with black lines drawn down the center. Each contestant puts his middle finger in the leather loop. And at the words of "sit on," each man begins to tug at his opponent. Here, many hale and hearty Germans brag that they have more strength in one finger than the world's heavyweight boxing champion has in his entire hand. This is Plank Friedrich, and he's the current finger wrestling champion in this Bavarian hamlet of Ruhpolding. Plank is training for a contest that's being staged especially for You Asked For It. He will try to defend his championship against all comers. You think this looks easy? Well, try it. This exercise develops control as well as strength. The finger wrestling contest, apart from the annual World Championships in September, are nightly occurrences. The contestants' unofficial uniform for the highly regarded matches are leather knickers and green felt hats. The men usually fortify themselves with several steins of beer before doing battle. Well, it's sundown, and here comes Plank. It looks like the big event is about to take place. Well, he didn't last long.
Beide Händler fertig, Zeit an.
None of the challengers could hold on for more than a few seconds.
Fertig, Zeit an.
There is absolutely no doubt as to who the champion is here. It's Plank.
We've just seen a sport that's easy to finger out. Because, Ginger Fox of Beattyville, Kentucky, you asked for
Fertig,
it.
Zeit an.
Ah, yes, very interesting. But would they lift a finger to help around the house? Well, so far tonight, you've seen a daredevil walk a cable wire, the ugliest faces in the world, Opal, the baby elephant star, and German finger wrestling. What else would you like to see? Well, let us know. Write to us. You asked for it. P.O. Box 1980, Hollywood, California, 90028. Did you ever want to be as swift as a deer, strong as a lion? Then just go to the fetish market in Togo, Africa. Now, this neighborhood drugstore offers things for sale that promise to give you those qualities. Jack Smith reports because Beverly Chapman of Marion, North Carolina, you asked for it.
Rich, although there is evidence of the French colonial period, such as the language on this sign, what you're really seeing here is a tribal drugstore, the fetish market of Togo. A fetish is any once-living creature that is believed to still possess the powers of the soul that once flowed through it. And people believe it will cure illnesses, ward off evil spirits, and promote all kinds of good luck. Village people, as well as city dwellers, come here to purchase items recommended by their witch doctor. There are literally thousands of items, but one of the chief talismans seems to be the skin of any powerful animal. The tribal people, who make up some 85% of the population of Togo, believe in the concept of totemism or animism. That powerful magic resides in all living things. The skin of fast-running deer, for example, can impart some of the same qualities to the one who possesses it. Now, this elephant skin, rolled and tied so that it can be carried easily, is believed to impart strength. The skull to contain some of the elephant's legendary wisdom. The sellers of these powerful tokens are usually the men who have killed them in the bush and preserved them. With their ability to fly and their delicate beauty, birds seem to hold a special attraction. Now, this man is stuffing a bird carcass with salt, the most commonly used preservative. Most birds and other animals are preserved with this simple, effective form of taxidermy. The spiritual qualities of certain people can also be captured for good luck. These little dolls have a special meaning. If a family loses a twin child, they will buy one of these dolls and place it in the home to assure the health of the remaining child. Some of the items have a significance known only to the witch doctors and their patients. The fetish market itself is so unique that it's usually off limits to foreigners. In fact, we were privileged to photograph it because, Beverly Chapman, you asked for it.
You know, I went to the fetish market once, but I didn't know which doctor to ask for.
In a moment, Rich will return with more requests. And now, back to Rich Little.
You know, we'd like to be able to comply with every request that we get in the mail, but some of our letters are a little ludicrous. For example, well, here's one from Halani Ballin of Northridge, California. And she writes, "Have Rich Little go down the Champs-Élysées during rush hour on an elephant." Well, Halani, we called the Paris police and tried to arrange that, but unfortunately, Hertz Renin Elephant was temporary out of animals. And here's one from Kip Dolan of St. Louis Park, Minnesota, and he writes, "I would like very much to see an honest politician on your show." Kip added a postscript, "If not a Democrat, a Republican will do." Well, I called up the headquarters of the Democratic Party. You know what they said? They suggested that I take a donkey ride down the Champs-Élysées during the rush hour. That's our show for tonight. We'll see you next time on... Good night, everybody.